Senator Babet.
Thank you, President. Now, my question is to the Minister representing the Prime Minister, Minister Wong. Minister, documents released under FOI show that the Australian government secretly asked Big Tech to censor and deplatform the former member for Hughes, Craig Kelly, for criticism of government policy, and the former member for Dawson, George Christensen, for promoting a peaceful phone-in protest. Now, Twitter declined to deplatform Mr Kelly as Twitter deemed his posts not to be misinformation. However, Craig Kelly's entire Facebook account was removed for his posting or sharing of scientific papers, data and expert opinion that contradicted government policy. Minister, what legislative or regulatory power does any government department have to request for censoring of lawful, free political speech on social media platforms by a parliamentarian, specifically a parliamentarian?
Thank you, Senator Babet. Minister Wong.
Thank you, President. Thank you to the senator for the question. And the first point I'd make in relation to the questions about Mr Christensen and Mr Kelly, whilst they were parliamentarians, then obviously those actions of government to which the senator is referring were actions of the previous government. So that's the first point I'd make. And so I can assist you as much as I can, but this might be something you might want to have a chat to those on the other side about. But more broadly, I understand these matters were discussed in Senate estimates in response to questions, particularly from Senator Roberts. I'm also advised that the approach that the government took then, as discussed by departments, or as the evidence by departments demonstrate, is that it was to refer posts to social media companies for those companies to assess if those posts met the platform's policies. So the senator asked about legal provisions. The advice I have is this is a referral process from government that was engaged in and I assume is still engaged in, but ultimately the legal capacity to take down a post or whatever information is action taken by the digital platform itself, and is ultimately a matter for that platform. If there's anything further I can assist with, I will do so, but I just would again reiterate I appreciate you have different view, Senator, but the evidence before estimates was that the government and the Health Department were concerned with disinformation and misinformation, and those that form the basis of referrals.
Senator Babet, first supplementary.
Thank you, President. Now, Minister, which government department decides what exactly is misinformation and what is the truth, especially when history, including the recent COVID period, teaches us that today's mistruth is actually tomorrow's truth? Who determines the truth? Who determines it? And do they have the power under our Constitution to censor, which is what they're trying to do, censor free political speech? Do they have that power, Minister?
Thank you, Senator Babet. Minister Wong.
I actually, I am of the view, and I suspect many people in this chamber are, that there is the weight of scientific evidence peer-reviewed by people who are appropriately qualified. And I will look to. I know, Senator Canavan, these are not your views, but the view I have is that the government, your government was the one that did this. So can I just be really clear before I take that interjection?
Senator Canavan.
At least he's consistent, I suppose. But
Minister Wong, please resume your seat. Senator Canavan, I called you to order twice, and you continued. Senator Canavan, interjections are disorderly. Order. Order. Senator Canavan. Minister Wong, please continue.
Peer-reviewed advice from medical and scientific—
Minister Wong, please resume your seat. Senator Babet.
Thank you, President. I appreciate that—
Senator Babet, why are you on your feet?
I'm on my feet for a point of order.
Thank you.
Now, I appreciate that the minister is attempting to answer the question, or rather dance around the question.
What is your point of
order?
order,
My point of
Senator
order
Babet?
is my question was, under the Constitution, can the government, or which government department, can censor free speech? Who can censor us? We are, of course, the parliament.
Senator Babet, that was part of your question, and the minister is being relevant to your question. Minister Wong.
Well, Senator Babet, there are a few concepts which are sort of in that question. One, of course, parliamentary privilege is an important part of the Westminster system. One. Secondly, there is a distinction. There is a distinction between false information or misinformation and free speech. And you and I may disagree, or you and the Morrison government may disagree about where that line is.
Thank you, Minister Wong. The time for answering has expired. Senator Babet, second supplementary.
Thank you, President, and thank you, Minister, for your answer. Now, Minister, from this day forward, will your government, your new government, give a guarantee that none of your departments or agencies will ever again request big tech to censor or remove or anything else a lawful post by a member of parliament or a member of the public or anyone else ever again? Can you give that guarantee to the Australian people whom you represent? If you can, great. If you can't, tell us you can't. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Babet. Minister Wong.
As I said in the first, in response to the primary, the advice I have is these are the legal framework for this is with the platforms themselves. I would make the point, Senator Babet, that I do think the rise of different platforms requires a mature conversation amongst people who may have different political views about how we manage the debates and conversations on those platforms. And I do have a view. That democracy does require and is stronger for at least agreement around certain facts. And we are better as a democracy if we can debate on the basis of facts that we all understand what the appropriate policy response is. And I think it is a risky thing for us where we allow an equivalence between things which are demonstrably true and things which are just demonstrably not.
Yeah, that's my kind of party, the United Australia Party. So sound the starting gun. You know we've just begun.